The Curse of Oak Island. The team seeks more evidence treasure was buried on island in the 13th century. This week's The Curse of Oak Island showed compelling theories of human activity dating way back to the 1200s and argued that these ancient folk may be responsible for the Oak Island mystery. A lot of last night's airtime was taken up by the guys worrying about the approach of Hurricane Lee and their concern it might cause damage to the garden shaft, Lot 5, and elsewhere. Perhaps for that reason, this episode was heavy on the theory. First, the guys were joined in the war room by one of Ian Spooner's colleagues, geoscientist Aaron Sitkovsky, to discuss his isotope analysis of two artifacts pulled out of the ground in the Money Pit area. Aaron examined two pieces of wood, including an axe, excavated from the spoils of the old RF-1 caisson at about 180 feet. The RF-1 hole was excavated back in Season 7, and the guys still reckon it might be the spot closest to the original Money Pit. The caisson was placed between the chapel and head-in shafts. Aaron focused his study on measuring the isotopes within the metallic element called strontium found in each artifact. The geoscientist explained that strontium can be used to identify the geographic origin of the artifacts, much like a fingerprint. Aaron proudly told the guys that the artifacts originated in southeastern France or northern Italy. New evidence further links Oak Island with Europe and possibly the Templar Knights. This news thrilled the team as it suggested more links between Oak Island and the original stomping grounds of the medieval order of Templar Knights. Last season, Rick Lagina and a few others traveled to Italy, where they examined old Templar churches and hiding spots and discovered ancient symbols that have also been detected on Oak Island. The infamous knights were also clearly linked to their native France. The 14th century lead cross, uncovered by Gary Drayton in 2017, is believed to have been made using materials from mines in southeastern France. All this mounting evidence continues to feed the theory that the Templar Knights or their successors buried treasure, such as ancient Christian relics, on Oak Island. This news also sent the borehole drill team back to re-investigate the RF-1 location, but so far without any success. Elsewhere on the island, Ian came up trumps with the carbon-14 results of the wood found on old tree stumps recovered from the swamp. The wood was dated to the late 13th century and early 14th century. This news, combined with the previous C14 dating of the paved area, suggests something big and human-made occurred in the marshy area in the 13th century. This is the same time period when the Templars were most active. Meanwhile, all this caused Rick to remember their visit to Italy and archaeoastronomer Professor Adriano Gaspani. Rick Lagina suspects major activity occurred on Oak Island in the 1200s. Archaeoastronomy is a scientific discipline examining how ancient stone monuments were built to align with stars or other celestial objects. Two famous examples of this are Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid at Giza. By examining how these monuments align with the stars today, archaeoastronomers like Gaspani can date when they were built. Last year, Gaspani told Rick that Nolan's Cross was likely built in 1200 AD. Last night, Rick suggested they put Gaspani to work again on two other stone structures, the Stone Triangle on the south shore and the Stone Cairns, also known as the Pirate Piles, found on Lot 15. The Stone Triangle featured stones from the beach that allegedly pointed toward the original Money Pit, but were sadly destroyed in the 1960s. The cairns consist of 5 pyramid-shaped constructs that point toward the swamp. Rick wants to give Gaspani the coordinates of both these stone features to see if he can determine if they were aligned with the stars and when they were built. If those dates come back in the ballpark of 1200 AD, it could prove that a significant operation occurred on the island in the 13th century. And what a discovery that would be! As the morning sun filtered through the misty canopy of Oak Island's tall evergreens, the Fellowship of the Dig stood gathered around the latest excavation site, coffee cups in hand and anticipation thick in the salty Nova Scotia air. It had been over a decade since Rick and Marty Lagina first set foot on the island, inspired by a centuries-old mystery. But this season, the team's focus had turned to something even older, something that, if proven true, would rewrite the entire legend of Oak Island. The team's respected geoscientist had recently shared groundbreaking radiocarbon dating results on wood fragments retrieved from deep in the Money Pit. The analysis stunned everyone. The wood had likely originated in the 13th century, far earlier than any previous theory had suggested. Most legends spoke of 16th or 17th century pirates or Templar Knights, but this pointed to activity on Oak Island before the time of Columbus, before the rise of the British Empire, even before the final fall of the Crusader strongholds in the Holy Land. "We could be standing on top of the oldest known treasure vault in North America," Rick said quietly, scanning the horizon with reverence. "And someone may have built it before the New World was even on the map." The implications were staggering. How could seafarers in the 1200s have reached this remote island with the means, manpower, and purpose to hide something of immense value? What did they leave behind, and why? The team knew the only way forward was down, deeper into the island's layered history, deeper into the tunnels, voids, and booby traps that had swallowed fortunes and lives across 2 centuries of searching. Their most promising lead came in the form of a newly discovered shaft, one that had not appeared on any of the old maps or excavation records. Dendrochronology placed the wooden cribbing at around 1278 AD, a date that ignited a frenzy among the fellowship. Marty, the more skeptical of the 2 Laguna brothers, furrowed his brow as he inspected a fragment of the ancient wood under a magnifying glass. "This doesn't prove treasure," he reminded the team, though his eyes betrayed a glimmer of hope. "But it proves people were here much earlier than we thought, and people don't just dig 90 feet underground for fun in the 13th century. To piece together the story, the team brought in medieval historians and Templar researchers. One expert, Dr. Livia Mancini from Italy, proposed a bold theory. According to recently unearthed records in Genoa, a group of rogue Templar knights had vanished around the time the order was disbanded. Rumors had whispered that they fled with relics from Jerusalem, perhaps even the famed Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant. Dr. Mancini posited that these knights may have sailed west, seeking refuge beyond the reach of kings and inquisitions. "It's not just a myth anymore," she told the group as they pored over old parchments and Templar insignia. "There are medieval texts that speak of a hidden vault beyond the edge of the world. That could mean Oak Island. The craftsmanship found in your tunnels, the layered trap system, the flood tunnels, mirrors what we see in Templar strongholds in Acre and Cyprus." Meanwhile, Gary Drayton, the ever-enthusiastic metal-detecting expert, had unearthed a curious find on Lot 25, a silver coin bearing a worn cross on one side and the date 1283 etched faintly on the other. He held it up to the sunlight, his voice barely containing the excitement. "This is no accident, lads. This coin didn't just wash up here. Someone brought it, probably the same people who built that shaft. We may be walking in the footsteps of Templars." The dig intensified. New boreholes were drilled. More wood fragments, rope remnants, and even a rusted piece of iron believed to be part of an ancient pulley system were brought up from depths exceeding 100 feet. Every artifact told a story of human effort and engineering precision far beyond what was thought possible in that era on this side of the Atlantic. One rainy afternoon, while excavating near the swamp, the area long theorized to be an artificially flooded inlet, archaeologist Miriam Amaralt stumbled upon a carved stone. At first glance, it seemed like just another rock, but upon cleaning it, intricate geometric designs emerged, strikingly similar to those found on medieval Templar gravestones. It was a potential game-changer. The team convened in the war room, placing the stone in the center of the table beside the coin, wood samples, and site maps. Charles Barkhouse, a longtime Oak Island historian, leaned forward and tapped the stone's edge. "If this is authentic Templar symbolism, it means we've found our best link yet between Oak Island and 13th century Europe. These aren't just random explorers. They had a mission." And then came the breakthrough. During a sonar scan of a previously unexplored underwater cavern beneath the island, an anomaly appeared, an unnatural void that looked distinctly like a chamber, complete with sharp right angles and what seemed to be a tunnel leading into it. The location matched the direction of the suspected 13th century shaft. It could be the legendary vault.